Hi, thank you very much for joining me for today's session. So, equipment that you'll need. If you have a couple of blocks or big books, then please do get them now, so they're handy for the class. And a strap if you need for forward folding. If you don't have any blocks though, please do not worry, no drama, we can just adapt to suit, so don't worry about that at all. So without further ado, we're going to make a little start. So we're going to start just by getting ourselves seated. Remember, you can take your legs wide if you want, take the hands over the knees. We're going to do a few cleansing breaths here, then we're going to move ourselves into child. So let's gently close our eyes. Big deep inhale. Out through the mouth. Use that exhale as a nice deep release. And again in. Exhale with noise. One more time. Big in. And exhale. Settling ourselves now to a little child's pose. So knees wide or knees together, it's up to you. You can take your arms out longer if you prefer, resting your head into your forearms. Finding our breath, settling down. Just continue to let your body release, to soften. Just letting go of any heaviness. Gently lifting ourselves up, coming into a few little wrist warm-ups, taking the hands out in front of us, making gentle fists and rolling the wrists a few times one way and a few times the other. Keep alternating. Taking the hands out in front of you, pressing through the heels of the hands, curling the fingers towards you. And the other way. Back up. And releasing down. Taking the hands into prayer, lifting up through the body, through the arms. And back down by our side. So we're going to come into some cat-cow, but if you could take your knees as wide as you can comfortably get them, fingers spread nice and wide, making sure the shoulders are still over the wrists. We're going to inhale into our cow pose, so head up, tailbone up, and exhale, curling round. Again, making sure we're keeping those shoulders stacked over the wrists. Inhale, lift, and exhale. Inhale, exhale, one more round, inhale, exhale. Tucking our toes, bringing ourselves in to a downward facing dog, taking some little pedal movement here, just to start with, maybe a little movement through the body. And if we can become rested now, I'm going to invite you all to come onto your toes. So lifting onto the ball of your feet or even the tip of your toes if you can. And then coming all the way back down again. Lifting up. And coming back down. Last time. And back down. We're going to lift up now through the right leg into three-leg dog. Let's take a breath here. And now we're going to bring this right foot and cross it over the left one. So crossing over the legs, we want to press the heels down towards the ground, keep pressing your chest towards the thighs. Releasing out, lifting back up with the right and bringing that down back to the mat. So swapping over sides now, lifting up through the left, taking a breath here. And now this one crosses over the right, pressing the heels down the best that you can, lifting up through the tailbone, chest pressing towards the thighs, so keeping the form of our downward dog here. Releasing, lifting back up through that left leg and then bringing it back down to the mat. So we're going to roll ourselves forward into plank pose now, and we're going to drop to the knees, lift up our tailbone and then drop our chest and our chin down to the mat. So chest, chin, come down, so we keep our belly off of the mat, and we're going to slide forward, lifting the arms, lifting our legs like we're skydiving. Bringing the hands down, bringing the bum back and in to downward facing dog. Taking a breath, we're going to do that a couple more times. Rolling forward into plank. Knees, lift up the bum, chest, chin. Slide forward, lifting up the arms, lifting up the hands. Dropping down, rolling back, downward dog, just those feet. One more time, rolling forward, knees, lift the bum, chest, chin, belly off the ground, slide forward, skydive. This time we're going to roll back into child's for a moment, so either knees together or parted, resting the head down onto the mat. Bringing ourselves back into a downward facing dog. Lifting up through the right leg again. We're going to bring it forward and come into a low lunge. So dropping the back knee, we're going to lift the arms, take the weights forward, make sure the shoulders are not up by the ears. We're just going to straighten that front leg a little bit, and we're going to turn to the side. So this left leg, we're going to pivot round, we're going to extend out through the right leg, coming into a modified side plank. The left hand comes onto the ground, we lift up through the right arm, lifting up through the side body, coming into our modified side plank. Rolling ourselves up. So now the right fingertips go down towards the ground, and we let the left arm come up and over the ear. So you want to keep your body straight here, stacked up, ribs in, hips in. You're trying to feel the stretch through the side. So some of your fingers may touch the ground, some of them might not. Either way, it doesn't really matter as long as you're feeling that good stretch. Lifting up, turning back towards the front of the mat. So we're going to pivot again on that back knee. Down we go. Dropping the hands down, we're going to come onto our bellies now. So sliding that back leg back, coming onto our stomachs, getting the forearms down ready for a Sphinx pose. So dropping the head and then pressing the hips and the forearms into the ground as we lift up, taking our shoulders back. The head doesn't need to come too far back. You don't want to strain, just keeping the gaze forward, avoid looking down to the ground, taking the elbows further forward if it's going to feel better on the spine, and dropping down from here. So now we're going to come onto our fingertips either side of the mat, elbows pointing upwards. So if your back felt a bit pinchy on this first Sphinx, then take the fingers a little bit further forward. We're going to press into the ground and start to open the chest from here. So make any adjustments you need at this point. Do you need to go further forward if it's a bit pinchy on the back? If you're feeling okay, then we're going to put a little bit of movement into this. If it's a bit of a strain, then I would suggest just staying here and using the breath. So we're going to work, go towards the right, bending the right arm, rolling forward. We're going to take a bit of a circle into this. And again, rolling round. So only if you're feeling pretty good here. And back to centre, over the other side, so through the left. And again. One more time. Back to centre. Bringing ourselves down onto the mat. Dropping our arms, taking a breath. Coming on to our knees, falling back and into downward facing dog. So we're going to do 3 more rounds of our knees, chest, chin. So rolling forward into plank, knees, lift the tailbone, chest, chin, slide forward, skydive, taking the gaze, holding the core strong, lifting the arms. Hands drop, roll back, down dog. 2 more times, rolling forward, plank, knees, lift the tailbone, chest, chin, slide and lift. Dropping down, rolling back, down dog. Last time for this round, rolling forward, knees, lift them, chest, chin, slide, lift. Dropping back, moving into downward facing dog. So lifting up through the left leg now and swinging it forward to the front of the mat, dropping the back knee, finding our low lunge to start. So lifting ourselves up, that back knee now is going to pivot round, extending out through the left leg, right hand onto the ground, and we're going to lift up through the left. So make sure we're not heavy in that front right arm, lifting up the energy through the body here. That left leg strong and straight, and then lifting up. So keeping our core strong here, left hand moves down towards the mat, right arm up and over the ear. Remember, stretch in the side of the body. Some of you may be able to reach the ground, some may not. Lifting up, pivoting that back knee, coming back into that low lunge. You may find that you're a little bit deeper now as we've moved the knees around a little bit. Dropping our hands onto the ground, sliding back onto our bellies, ready to do a Sphinx pose again. So forearms on the ground, head rested on the ground also. Taking a breath. So pressing into the ground with the forearms and the hips, lifting the head. So we're going to take some lifts through the legs this time. So pressing the left thigh into the ground, we're going to raise up with the right leg. And bringing ourselves down. Other side, press the right thigh and lift up through the left leg. And releasing down, dropping our head down. So we're going to move back in to that fingertips cobra type pose. So fingertips either side of the mat, adjusting the distance from you accordingly. Elbows facing upwards. So pressing into the ground now, lifting up. Check out how you're feeling. We can either stay here or let's find some little circles. So moving over to the right, rolling and coming up. And again. Last time. Over the other side. Dropping ourselves down, and let's bring ourselves back into child's pose. Again, you can stack the forearms if you want to and rest your head if this feels better for you. And with Child's as your resting pose, you should feel good here. Able to find the breath again. So lifting ourselves up into downward facing dog. So doing our knee, chest, chin now 3 more times. Rolling forward into plank, knees, lift the bum, chest, chin, slide, skydive. Rolling back, downward dog, adjusting the feet. Next time, rolling forward, plank, knees, chest, chin, slide and lift. Lowering, rolling back, lifting up. Last time, rolling forward, plank, knees, chest, chin, slide and lift. Bringing ourselves back into downward dog. We're going to walk the hands back now and take hold of the shin, hands onto the shin, and lift up into that halfway lift. So we want the legs extended, spine extended, moving forward, shoulders from the ears. And now taking the hands along the back of your leg, you're going to use this elbow power, draw your body in towards your leg. So try and hollow the belly here. Remember, we're moving downwards. So the ribs over the thighs, head moving down towards the shin. Hands onto the shin again, lifting up halfway. And coming back down. Last time, hands to shin, lift. And moving forward. Gently rolling up to stand, up through the fingertips, hands down by our side. So this is where your blocks may come in handy. We're going to come into a bit of a pyramid pose. So you want to step forward with the right leg. So you're not too far apart from each other, maybe 2.5 feet. Both feet are pointing in the same direction. You want to keep your hips aligned, but make sure there's a space running between your feet. So we're going to take our hands onto the hips. We're going to inhale, find the lift through the chest up to the sky, and then move forward. So some of you may be able to reach the floor here with your legs straight. We want to keep the legs straight. And we can lift the chest and bring ourselves along the length of our leg. If you have blocks and you can't quite reach the floor, this is where these become handy, setting them whatever height they need to be. So again, we're extending the chest forward, and then just like we do in any forward folds, ribs over the thighs, head down towards the shin. If we can't touch the floor and we don't have any straps, then that's okay. So from here, we're moving down and just extend the arms. Another couple of breaths. Lifting ourselves up through the hands, and then bringing ourselves back to the back of the mat. Taking a breath in. Stepping forward, left foot. So lining ourselves up. It's a bit of a space between the feet. Both feet facing forward, hands onto the hips. Take the breath in. Forward we go. Keep projecting forward. Oops, coming onto our fingertips. Extending if we can. Using the block if you need. Or just pressing forward with those fingertips here. So it doesn't take very long before we start to feel a nice stretch through the back of the legs. So keep the legs straight here. Don't try and compromise by bending to touch the ground, okay? We're trying to feel that stretch. So if that means coming off the ground or using blocks, then do that. Inhale, coming all the way up, reaching up through the hands and bringing ourselves back to the back of the mat, taking a breath again. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees if you need. Inhale, lift halfway. And now we're going to walk our hands forward into a plank, adjusting the feet as you need, shoulders over the wrists. Knees, lift at the tailbone, chest chin, slide forward, skydive again. Dropping back, down dog, 2 more times. Roll forward, knees, chest chin, so your belly is not on the ground, sliding forward, now it is. Onto our bellies, onto our thighs, lifting up through the shins. And dropping down. Dropping back, downward dog. Last time, roll forward, find your plank. Knees, chest chin, slide and lift. Bringing ourselves back and into downward facing dog. We're going to come into pigeon pose now, so the right ankle needs to go towards the right wrist. For some of you, dropping to the knees may be easier for this. So knee towards the wrist. Back leg back as far as you can. So making sure the foot is flexed, so you're pressing through the ball of the feet, and the shin is where it needs to be, so you feel that good stretch through the side of the thigh. So lifting up, start on your fingertips, checking with how you feel. A lot of us are going to be probably less active than we usually are at the moment, so you may find that the hips are becoming a little bit tighter. So be patient. If you want to take this deeper, you can come onto your forearms. We'll take the arms out like we do in child's, resting the head. So in this stillness, really focus on the breath. Avoid the temptation to start delving into those thoughts that are passing through. Lifting ourselves up now onto the fingertips. You can either stay here for a breath or squeeze the back heel and lifting the chest, taking the head back slightly and releasing down. So we're going to swing this back leg round and hook it over the right thigh. So if this is a struggle, then this right leg you can extend out, and we can just modify it like this instead. We're going to take the right arm around the thigh, and then the left hand comes behind us. Lift, and then take the twist behind. So squeeze that thigh in towards you, taking the twist back. So use your fingertips to avoid slouching here. Lift. And back through centre. So now for the fun bit, we're going to bring the hands next to the right foot. Let me move around so you can see it a little bit better. So hands by the foot that's flat on the ground. If you have your leg extended, you're going to have trouble doing this. We may just need to swap sides with you. So keeping the feet where they are, we're going to lift up and then pivot on the ball of the feet, using your hands to guide you around, and then you should be able to drop round on the other side. So same pose, but other side. The left arm wraps round the thigh, right hand comes back, lift, 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 and taking the gaze back. So don't worry, if you've never done that before, we will have another little go of it, so you can have another practice. And bringing ourselves forward. So we're going to release the legs. We're going to come into boat pose now. So take hold of the lower, so the back of the knees, lifting the chest. If you want to release the hands here, you can. If you want to extend through the legs, then you can. But don't compromise the pose. Keep up with the chest. Keep your core really strong. You want a nice tight V shape through the thighs and the body. Breath flowing. One more here. Crossing the legs over or coming onto the knees, hands down, stepping back into our downward facing dog. Coming into pigeon on the other side, drop to the knees if you need. The left knee towards the left wrist, drop it down. Back leg comes back, adjusting the shin, pressing through the balls of the feet. So the back leg comes back as far as you can, coming onto your fingertips here. Check in with how you feel, taking it deeper if you want to. Making sure your bum's not sliding over to one side here. You really need to keep it centre and level. Finding that stretch through the thighs, maybe through the bum cheek. As you settle into the pose, you may feel you can take the back foot back a little bit more, or take the shin a little bit further up the mat. Another breath. So coming onto our fingertips, lifting up through the chest, squeezing the back heel in, lifting a little bit more of this space. Dropping it down, back leg, swinging it round and hooking over the thigh. I'm just going to adjust myself again so you can see. So if you are struggling with this, or struggling with your balance and this foot won't come down, we can extend this leg forward, okay? So just to make the adjustments if you need. Bringing the left thigh, left arm around the thigh, right hand comes behind, lift and twist. And moving through centre. We're going to try that little pivot again now. So hands next to the foot on the floor. Lift up. Keeping the feet where they are. Just pivot. Drop ourselves down as you find the pose on the other side. Wrapping the right arm around the thigh. Squeezing it in. Spine long. Left hand behind. Lift. And back through centre, coming into our boat pose. So releasing, lifting up the chest. So you want your calves parallel with the ground. If this is a little bit tough, you can always drop the toes down just to keep finding your balance. Releasing the hands if you want, extending the legs if you want. One more breath. Crossing the legs over or coming onto the knees, finding our way into downward facing dog. Let's bring ourselves to seated now. So come to the knees, take your legs underneath you, extending out. So grab your strap if you need one for forward folding. We're going to bring the right foot inside of the left leg, lifting, extending over that foot, taking the left hand onto the back of the foot if we can reach, reaching around with the right, or using our fingertips to guide us if you haven't got the strap. Remember, projecting forward. Ribs over the thighs, chest moving down. Keeping the length of the left leg active, so avoid it just hanging about. Lifting it. We're going to extend out through both of the legs. Taking the arms up, we're going to come into a reverse plank now. So take our hands behind us, doesn't matter which way your fingers are pointing, whatever works. Hips are going to come up, trying to get the toes on the ground, head long. If it feels okay, if not, chin towards the chest, keeping the hips up. If this isn't happening today, then we just bend the knees and bring ourselves into reverse tabletop instead. Either way though, hips are up. And releasing down, swapping over sides for our forward fold. So extending through the right now, taking our left one in. Strap, moving forward into the pose, finding our fingertips and guiding ourselves forward from here. One more breath. Lifting, extend the arms, extend the legs. Hands behind. Either reverse plank or reverse tabletop last time. Taking the hips up. Lowering ourselves down. We're going to cross the legs over and move into downward dog, which was all round on your knees. So we can take the right knee in towards the centre of the mat and take a nice stretch out through the left side of the body. Swap sides, left knee in, stretch out through the right. Back through centre. We're going to bring ourselves back onto the mat and then onto our backs. So bringing the feet flat on the ground, taking the head back. We're going to do a reclined pigeon pose before we complete our practice. So we're going to take the right ankle over the left knee. Flex the foot, knee moves away. So this may feel enough. If you want to take it deeper, we take hold, the back of the left thigh, squeezing it in towards us. So the head stays on the ground. You want to keep the lower spine on the ground. Keep flexing through that right foot and moving the knee away from you. Just like when we're laying down in pigeon. That stretch should be found on the thigh, around the bum cheek. With a couple of breaths here. And releasing down. Unhooking, hooking the other leg. So flex the foot, we're not letting it flop around all over the place. Foot flex, knee moving away. Check in how you feel. Is this enough? Do I want to take it deeper? If so, grab hold of the back of the thigh, squeezing it in. Head on the ground. Another breath. And hooking, taking both knees in, having a little squeeze, roll on the spine. And then rolling ourselves up to seated. We can do our namastes before we enjoy a shavasana as long as you need it to be. So taking our hands at prayer, let's inhale. Exhale through the mouth. And again. Drawing on as many moments of gratitude still in our lives. Big deep inhale. And out. Namaste to you. Enjoy your final pose. Bringing yourself onto the mat. Remember, however is comfortable for you. Getting a pillow, an eye pillow, little blanket. Really relish in these final few moments. Settling to the mat. Just letting everything relax, everything release. Almost like you're just melting into the mat, becoming like a pool of water. Just gently releasing, relaxing. Breath finding its way back, just this natural flow. So avoid the temptation of being pulled in to any thoughts that are passing through. Just continue just to preserve the space that you've created. Allowing the thoughts to pass through.